What would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
As I'm coming up, and he just goes, "You!"
I was building on the lecture. Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking one shot for the kill. The breeze cut, freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking.
Hi, welcome back to the Compass Studio. This is Sean Purcell. I've got a really special guest today. He's special if you want to hear the unvarnished truth directly without any sugar on it. But today I have Beau Trickey with us. Beau, welcome.
Sean, thanks for having me, bud.
I'm glad you're here.
Very
I know
happy
this
to be
is going
here.
to be fun.
We're going to try our best to keep this, in the fairway and PG-13.
You just be you. That's who your audience expects.
You got it.
So let's go back. Start the beginning. Where'd you grow up?
I'm originally from Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up there and left after high school to come to San Diego to go to school at San Diego State. And
On a scholarship, maybe?
yeah, played a little football over there and had a heck of a time. Made some good friends, had some good experiences, and decided let's keep this party going.
Once I was here, why leave?
Yeah. You always think you might go back to Houston or go back to where you're from, but then you realize in Houston it's about 1,000 degrees in the summer and it's a little better weather here.
So when you got out of college, first of all, you played ball,
Yeah.
tried out pros,
Yep.
didn't work.
Did not.
So what did you do then? What's the go-to?
So at that point in time, I was when you're on scholarship, you're not allowed to formally work.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I had some little odd jobs here and there, and then once I got done with school, it's kind of like, holy crap! Okay, I'm not playing football anymore. Everybody thinks you're going. Everybody that plays D1 thinks they're going to the league.
Right.
And when that didn't work out, I said, okay, let's try to find a real job. And I was living in Mission Beach at the time, having a pretty good time, and one of the places were for sale in my complex.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of went down one day to the patio, and I saw this kind of very casually dressed guy. I said, "Hey, dude, what are you doing, man?" He goes, "Oh no, I'm just showing this place. I'm listing the house, the condo next to you." I said, "Oh, cool." And then kind of got to meet him a little bit, and I said, "Gosh, this would be fun if I could, ever do this. This guy looks like he's having a good time, and I like to have a good time. So let's learn a little more about it."
That's how you got into real estate.
That's the start of it, But both my parents were in corporate sales, so I knew that was always there for me if I wanted to do it. But I wanted to get into a different. Sales was innate to me.
Right. And they taught you. I mean, it's not easy, but it feels good. You can do it.
Correct. And if you do the little things consistently, you might be able to have some success. And
Same way you become a top ball player.
Yeah, same stuff. Practice makes perfect.
Right.
Yep.
So did you have any real job before you got into real estate, or you went from goofing around to?
I guess I did have my first job I had was the summer of my sophomore year in high school. My dad said, "You know what? We're going to show this kid like what little hard work is." So my first job was moving houses. I worked for a moving company in Houston in the summer. So it's it's nice and hot. The guy who owned the company specialized in larger homes and estates. And so we would move 4,000-foot homes and up. That was the threshold and up, and we. So I learned that I'm going to need to go to school. Yeah.
So you went into real estate. What's the best part about being a real estate agent?
The first, thing that I learned through being in it for a while, what that is great is helping people with what is usually their biggest asset. And growing up in Houston, and there's the price points, like for what my mom and dad bought. I can still remember like what they bought their home for in the 90s, and what it ended up selling for in the 2000s, and what we have here. And it was that was the biggest thing. Helping people was kind of the biggest thing, and then also being able to be your own boss. I mean, we're interviewing for a job every day.
Right.
When we're talking with our clients. So
it sounds like you took that first part serious, though. It's not just buying and selling homes. This is people's biggest asset. It's their future.
That's the way you got to. That's the way I look at it, and that's how serious I take it. That this is a very serious very important thing. Whenever I was going back to your question about, kind of getting into the real estate business, I was like, I want to sell something that people, like everybody needs.
Right.
And you need to own, property to have long-term wealth.
That's
And
the single best source.
that's it. I mean, people can do a lot of things. I have clients that own companies and have had big buyouts and whatnot, but no matter what, if you look at, talk to any financial person, to accumulate long-term wealth, real estate needs to be a part of it.
All right. What do you love least about being a real estate agent?
Dealing with other realtors. Because by and large, there's a big threshold. I know you've been in the business a long time, and there's a big threshold. And when you're dealing, and that's what I also love is working with another great agent.
So that's a big swing.
There is a low that's kind of why I also like to get in this business is there's a low threshold. But you and I both know that the people that are doing it at a high level take it very, very seriously and are very systematic about it.
The people
we know each other,
right? There's not that many.
We know each other. If I see somebody's name and with me with how I work and who the hitters are and the people that you're gonna maybe need to that you're gonna be just fine playing together and working together, and sometimes it's a battle and sometimes you look on the other side and you're like, I'm gonna have to carry this deal for both sides, but this person's gonna get paid.
But that's what my client needs.
Yeah, so we got to get them to the finish line.
So the players, the people out there, you guys know each other. What do you think your reputation is with them?
I think people with me know that I'm going to be very much a straight shooter. We're going to do what we say we're going to do. We're going to execute per the contract. And that, I'm going to advocate for my clients vigorously.
So it's not just you're going to do what you're going to, the other agent's going to, there's going to be heavy accountability.
There's expectations. Yeah,
Right.
you need to be accountable. I have very specific chats with people with the other agent, especially if I'm on the listing side, if I'm selling someone's home and they're, now in this market, they're kind of courting me.
Right.
Hey,
Right.
Beau, or in different markets, maybe I'm courting them, as a buyer's agent. But, we just like to have very clear expectations of each other. And I think that usually makes for a better experience.
In the end, everyone respects it.
Yeah, they respect it. Now we're battling, we're MFing each other, throughout the deal sometimes, but that's all. At the end, we're usually shaking hands and singing "Kumbaya," at the end. But
Well, that's MFing is making friends. For those
Yes.
who don't know the. If you were going to share one secret, right? Hey, I've been doing this a while now.
right,
This is what I wish I knew earlier. This is what I would tell you if you want to be good in this business.
sure.
What would it be?
Expectation control. Have a clear find out what your client's expectations are. You can figure out, okay, can I meet these expectations or hopefully exceed these expectations?
Right.
But I think that's probably something that I would tell any new agent, any agent that's ever worked for me, anybody on my team, is we need to really be very intentional about setting expectations, but also for our clients as well.
I was going to say, you have a lot of repeat business.
Yes, all my business is referral.
It's all referral driven.
Yeah.
How much do you think that plays into it, that you set expectations from the beginning?
Well, I have to. Like, I have colleagues of mine that are great agents, do great numbers, and they get it they have irons and a lot of fires. And that's, and you know what, I probably should too, but I don't. I've always been like, hey, because of how I operate, I don't do well with people who don't understand or aren't willing to understand the value that I bring. So expectation control, very, very big. I would tell any young agent that. And then just doing the things that don't require talent. Pick up the phone. Or call somebody back. You could call somebody back right away. Be prompt with communication.
Are you saying that's an issue in our industry?
It's a big one. Like nowadays, I mean, you're lucky to get a call back from a listing agent,
Right.
Hey, I got somebody who wants to pay $100,000 over list price, and you might not get a call back. And show up on time, do what you say you're going to do. You don't know the answer? Okay, you don't have to have all the answers, but we'll work towards getting it for you.
Right.
As opposed to just spitting out some
Making it up.
shenanigans. Yeah.
Some shenanigans. Okay, you've had a pretty storied life. You've been very successful. College was successful. Football. People look, and I agree with you. Oh, if you're this, you're going to go here. the percentages are so tiny. And you were at the level where you were competing for it.
Correct.
So that in itself tells you where you are.
Yeah.
Now you've been in real estate for quite a while. I mean, you're very successful there. You have a devoted clientele. All of that. And a lot of things I don't know about you. What are you most proud of?
First off, I'm proud that I'm so lucky to have a great family, a great support system, two great kids, an amazing wife who deals with all of my craziness. But professionally, just getting through the tough times, because no matter what, if you're in this industry for a number of years, we can talk to any person who has had success in this industry and has been in it for 10 plus, 15 plus years. I'm on my 16th year now.
Right.
And you got to just trust the process. Trust doing it the right way. I'd rather work, and this is, there's all sorts of coaches out there. I would rather have one good client and someone than 20 that just don't understand my value.
Where you have to constantly fight about.
Yeah. So I've just, and then if you keep doing it the right way and you keep doing those things, the word will get out. That you know what you're doing. Just like the word will get out if you don't.
Right. How long though? So 15, 16 years now. In the beginning, you're probably very confident. You have obviously a lot of discipline.
Sure.
But there's also a lot of fear.
Yeah.
Am I going to make it? I don't know when the next check. At what point? How long did it take before you finally said, "Yeah, this is going to work"?
It probably took me about 5 years.
5 years.
Honestly, like for me, I was younger when I got into the business. I was just out of college. Of course, we just assume that things are just going to happen for us.
Right.
And I like that positivity. I mean, that's great. But then you learn, you're humbled in this business. We've all been there, and we've all been humbled by it. So, but after, you learn that just like sports, you need to have systems. Like we usually, when we were working out back in, for football, we weren't just showing up to the gym and just like running around without knowing what. No, we had a very specific plan of this is what we're doing. This is how many reps we're doing.
This is why.
Once I started treating my business like that is when I started having success.
So do you think being an athlete has benefited you?
Absolutely. I think whether I'm a big team sport guy.
Right.
I've played individual sports too. Team sports, I can't speak higher enough of the importance of it, and learning how to work with others, learning how to be accountable. If you say you're going to do it, you do it, and if you don't do it, you're accountable for it.
Right.
And I think that has helped me a lot. And I'm a big advocate of kids playing sports and all the benefits of it. Outside of the obvious ones.
Well, when you're talking about getting humbled, sports teaches you winning and losing. Neither one go too far out on the extreme. Balance them both out. They're both going to happen.
Yeah.
Happens a lot in our business, right?
Oh, you can never, like my dad used to say, he'd say, "Look, Beau," well, this is with sports, he would say, but it resonated in our job, in our work too, is you can never get too up and you can never get too down.
Right.
You crank 1 month or a couple months and you're having some big sales, and that doesn't mean you stop doing the things that got you there. You still do those things. You don't go and hopefully don't go buy a yacht or anything. Just keep your head down and keep your keep your nose to the grindstone, and things will continue to work out.
Otherwise, it will humble you.
Or don't, if you have a couple rough months, it's not because you just sometimes it just doesn't work out like that. Our business is kind of cyclical like that, especially how I run my business by referral. If I was sitting there buying 100 leads,
right,
a month, things would be different. But I've chosen that I want to work with a specific subset of people. Have
you had a client that impacted you in such a way that it changed how you did business?
I've had a few that, and it was good. I mean, they held my feet to the fire. They maybe I initially didn't think I could meet their expectations, and then but I wanted the challenge.
Right.
Right. So, and they held me to it, and I loved it. And then sometimes where it didn't work out, I understand, okay, this is why it didn't work out, and this is why maybe my skill set and their needs were not parallel. And I needed to understand that, and now I can acknowledge that quicker and say, hey, you know what, Tom, I don't know that I'm the right agent for you.
You have to be okay with that, actually.
And that's fine.
Because we don't hear many people say it, but that really is, we're not all for everybody.
There's probably been about 10 million in business that for one reason or another, I just decided not to work with, and it was fine. And some of them are still out working, and I think, and because even for me, if I walk into a an auto dealership and I want this and I want it for this price and I want that, the guy
Can't do it.
Yeah, sorry,
Right. But I get that again has to go back to why you can run a business that's all referral driven. You say, look, not that there's something wrong with the person. You're saying we're not aligned. This isn't going to be the best experience for you or me.
I can't meet your expectations, and that's a big one. Because I when I sit down with somebody and I say, look, thank you for having me in your house. I really appreciate it. It looks like you spoke with Andrea, and I helped her sell her property a couple years ago, and I know that's why my foot's in the door there. And if I can't, and I tell them I work by referral. Oh, and they said, oh, that's interesting. I said, just so you understand what that means it is my job to meet or exceed expectations, or otherwise you're not going to be passing me a referral. And by the way, traditionally during the process of helping somebody sell or buy a home, from them during that process, I usually will get 2 or 3 referrals.
During the process?
During that process.
Wow.
Because that's what, as we know, whether you buy a car or you buy a house, you're talking about it with people. And you're either talking about how good of an experience you're having, or you're talking about how bad of an experience you're having.
So this goes back to you setting the expectation. I almost expect to be able to impress you enough that I'm getting 2 or 3.
Absolutely. That is my expectation of the service, that goes behind it.
Of yourself and of your client.
Yeah.
All right, so you got some good time friends. You got some guys from college. I'm sure it's a wide swath of people.
Yes.
If I were to get them together and say, what in the hell do you think Beau does all day? What would they answer?
They would probably say, well, Beau does what Beau does. But I would say they'd probably say, well, he's either golfing or selling some houses, or he might be at the spigot, having a pop or two,
But always with a potential client.
That's the thing with referral. Again, I'll say it. We, these are people that, and not everybody's that I work with is a best friend. Of course, acquaintances or just people that require the services that I give and found out from somebody else. But I have a lot of fun with my clients. And I'm spending time with them,
Right.
like I only again, this is something I had to explain to my wife all these years ago when we got together is I'm out and about a lot. I'm face to face with people. I have a team here that helps me with the administrative stuff.
Yeah, the
moving
back
around,
end.
the back end stuff. And I'm out there. Now, certain other agents that I've worked with that do big numbers, they're in the office. They don't do a lot of face-to-face with their clients. Their team does that. I've never wanted to do that. I've always wanted to be there at the inspections, at the termite inspection. If we got to get the foundation guy over there, I want to be there. I want to hear what happens so I can articulate that. I don't want to depend on somebody else to be able to explain to my client a very important part of what's going on with their property.
You're very relationship driven.
Yeah.
I mean, you like the people. That's why you don't always work with everybody.
Right. Oh yeah. And you can tell when you meet with somebody, if you think it's just not going to work. And most of the time it does work. But there are times where you really need to be conscious with your time too. And you need to be upfront with people. Hey, I might not be the guy for you.
So there's people watching this right now that haven't worked with you, or they're just meeting you for the first time.
Sure.
And they're thinking, this is what I want in a realtor. What do you say to them?
Well, that's how I would feel. No, but I'm biased. No, and I think about that whenever I go out on vacation. I'm always looking at different states where I'm traveling. What would I want if I was doing that?
Right.
I would want, and the reason why I would want to work with someone like me is just the communication. Like, be upfront with me, be brutally honest with me, give me the data, let me know what's going on. What does this mean to you as an agent? What does this mean to me as a consumer? Where do we see things going? And then all the other intricacies, if we look at a property and like, oh, I know that seller, or I know that agent. Little things can dictate how we're going to move forward.
Right. But they're going to get honest, accurate answers.
Oh, yeah.
If you want things sugar-coated, you probably don't want me as your agent.
No, it's just, I like to be very, straightforward. And again, I want to have some bedside manner,
Right.
about it, and you know what I mean. And but I don't think it's fair to my client. I don't think it's fair to me to mix words when we know what's kind of going on, or we see the writing on the wall. This is what we're going to need to do.
It's going to end up being whatever it's going to end up being.
Correct.
Yeah. So at some point here, you chose Compass, and I'm curious. First of all, what brought you to Compass?
I had bounced around, like many of us that have been in the business for a long time. I had bounced around. I was with an independent brokerage, a small mom and pop type deal initially, which for me probably wasn't the best. Then you're really dependent on either you figuring it out, or hopefully you have a strong person that's able to get you, good information.
Right.
I didn't really have that at my first spot. Then I moved on to another kind of a bigger outfit, learned some good things. But again, there's different, depending on who owns the business, who do they have as their office manager, and all those things can have an impact on the agents.
Right.
Because we're just in there, we're in there, and all they
Working
care about
hard.
is how the deal's going, how those deals going. So I wasn't getting an overwhelming amount of support. And I went to another big outfit and had more support, and I was like, okay, this is cool. I like this. And not that I needed an overwhelming amount of support, but if I had a question, and because everything's in our business, it's urgent. You need it now.
Right.
You don't need it tomorrow. You need it now.
Right. The client's not going to wait.
No, and that's the thing that people, I think, forget, that aren't in this industry, or maybe it's sales in a different industry, of how urgent and time sensitive things are, because we have very concrete dates with when we need to get things done by.
And a lot of things need to get done.
Oh yeah. And that's kind of the thing that I don't think a lot of people understand until they go through it, whether buying or selling a property, or maybe they're in the industry of these are the things that need to happen. A lot of things need to happen. You're taking in and digesting a lot of information, and the intricacies, I don't think, get really spelled out on $1 Million Listing.
The TV show's fun, right?
It's like
Not
my
very
wife.
accurate.
It's like my wife trying to watch a nursing show. She's a nurse. She's like, they did that wrong. They did that wrong. You don't do that. And same thing when I'm watching a show like that. They think they skip around some things, and
I have a question about that, but let me go back. Since joining, has Compass given you what you expected, or are there areas that fall short, or it's better than you thought?
Compass has been interesting. I was in a need. Yeah. So back to your, I had a need of leaving where I was. And I'm a big principle person. If you're not holding up to your end of the bargain, I'm like Robert De Niro in Heat. You got to be ready to leave in 30 minutes.
Right.
I was, and I did, and Compass was there. What really drew me into Compass was it was a tech driven, and I'm not by tech like this is a place for producers. People aren't going to get in your way. You guys have there's great tools here, and for me, I don't care if I'm at ABC Realty, Compass, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go where I feel like I'm going to get the tools to best service my clients, period.
The only thing you care about.
That's it. Split matters, but it didn't really matter, because I could go, at my time in the business and my production level, I could go anywhere.
Right.
It's just, but then it came down to, where do I think I'm going to go that's going to give me the tools and the ability to best service my clients?
This hasn't come up in the previous interviews, but I'm glad you brought it up. There's really two kinds of companies. There's the ones who are just selling split or cap or whatever they can limit, and that's fine for.
Sure.
But everyone else is selling, here's the value that we will bring to you that you can bring to your clients. And if that's really there, the splits off 5% one way or the other, you don't care. It's how you can help people.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've ran all the numbers. I've done all the things, and then, of course, that's a big pitch that places that maybe aren't a full service brokerage, they want to pitch to you. Well, you could have saved X amount of thousands of dollars by brokering with us, and that's all fine. I mean, again, I could go start ABC Realty tomorrow, but this has been eye-opening. Again, Compass is one of the first of its kind, that getting people, and the amount of support you have here. That's the first thing when I walked into a Compass office when I was first kind of getting recruited. I saw the people, I saw the folks out front, everybody kind of working, and everybody had their own thing going on. There was no BS water cooler crap going on. Seriously. And I'm like, gosh, they got the agents out in the bullpen. That's old school, you know? And they're like, no, that's support. That's your tech. That's your client, you know.
Right.
And I was just like, wow, in-house marketing. So that was something that really resonated. And it's people that are successful that weren't in the real estate field.
Right.
You know,
it's very true. They
which I
bring
think
them
is
from
tough.
other fields.
I was skeptical about that because real estate's very specific, and sometimes it's hard to get somebody from Apple
right.
that's going to understand how to communicate.
Or the urgency sometimes.
In the real estate world. Yeah. They don't understand it, but I've been very pleasantly not surprised, but I've been very happy with the level of you know, folks that Compass has here to support the agents.
All right, so I want to something else you touched on that I always find interesting. What's a common perception that the public has about real estate agents that you know not to be true?
Some people think that they're just kind of, you know, not doing anything, and they're you know, that we're just kind of, you know, overpaid for, and again, you could say that about a lot of different, but the lack of understanding how integral, you know, and how intricate these contracts are. And if you happen to get with an experienced, productive agent, you'll see very quickly there's a lot of nuance. With, okay, I asked the agent a question. They told me what they told me, but I can read what is really being said, you know, and that takes time.
Right.
To know, are they giving me the truth? Are they giving me kind of a line of BS? Like, what are they giving me right now? And the more you do it, the more you see. So I think our outside world, if you had a great agent, you're going to think highly of realtors.
That's the hard part, right? You have to have had at least two, and one is really good and one not, for you to start understanding the difference.
Right. These other pop-up kind of companies that have came up and try to dumb down the experience, you know, they gambled well, because a lot of agents are bad. You know, they just are. And
like
there are only, I mean, again, like once you start getting into the whatever smaller percentage of people that are doing it at that level, you start seeing, holy crap, you know, there's not that many of us around
that actually are
that
doing
it's
it
scary.
right
It's
at a high
actually
level.
scary. It's really, really scary. So I don't blame society and in our, you know, consumers having a bad maybe taste in their mouth. But once you have the experience with a good agent, whether it's me or, you know, somebody else out there, you'll see, holy crap. Thank God I had Beau on or thank God I had Tina on my team for this. This never would have happened.
To someone who actually
I never would have known. And I've talked to people that have worked with other, and they think, well, they think it went well. They don't know if it went well or not, you know?
See, this is what I like. It is why I said in the beginning, if you want the unvarnished truth, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could start a project right now that you knew would not fail, what would you start? What would you do?
We'll have to come back to that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to have dinner with three people, any three people,
man.
living or dead. Who would they be and why?
Oh, goodness. That's a good question. And you know what? You see other people get asked this question, and they, you know, they're really ready for it. They got this whole thing. I would say I'd like to have dinner. I would like to bring my dad back, have one more dinner with him, and pick his brain a little bit more. You know, because when you lose a loved one, you never had enough time. You know, you don't ever quite feel like you had enough time. I think it'd be really cool to get, you know, I've always been fascinated with a dude like Willie Nelson. He cracks me up. Just his whole story of what he's done and how long he's been doing it, and how he's even still so relevant. And I think it would be cool to have dinner with a person like a Dick Butkus. You know, I love the old linebacker, Nitsky, Butkus, and just kind of pick their brain a little bit, you know, about, because these are people that have been successful at multiple different things.
Your dad, Willie Nelson, and Dick Butkus.
Yeah, it's quite a crew.
I'd like to
Bob
be at
Marley
that
was on the
dinner.
tip of my tongue too, man. I'm
Maybe we can get him to play.
Big Bob Marley fan.
All right, the last of my questions. I'm big in coaching. I always tell people the most important words in the world are whatever words follow I am. So I want you to complete that sentence. I am
Driven.
driven. Okay, I'm going to ask you. So this is the 10 questions that I stole from Inside the Actors Studio.
Oh,
that I think
nice.
is fun, with a little modification to make it, family friendly.
Okay.
What is your favorite word?
Closed.
What is your least favorite word?
Can't.
What sound or noise do you love?
I love when you hear that putt just go right in the hole.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Just whining. I hate whining. My kids can tell you, we're the Trickeys. We're not a whining family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like whining.
Okay. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Holy moly! Just to see the future. There's been some stuff that's happened, whether it's in our industry or anything, that if I could see into the future, it'd be a little easier.
A little easier.
I know that's a silly one, but
No, there's no silly ones. How do you cure a hangover?
Holy moly! My salvation usually sits at the bottom of a red salsa after a breakfast burrito. Salvation is there, man. Yeah, or a Coors Light, one or the other.
I love it. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
One of my good buddies is in the insurance business, and similar kind of it's you're dealing with, he deals with business owners, and he's helping people with something that you desperately need, and I think that it looks like fun. I don't know if that's what I would want to do, but it looks like it's a good business.
Good
Yeah.
business.
Providing something that people need, just like you need a house, you got to have insurance. He deals with big companies and owners of the companies, and essentially it's just, hey, how do my numbers look compared to this? And it's a relationship.
It's
thing.
relationship.
Do you want to dial 1-800 or do you want to dial my cell?
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked when he says that. I'm like, dude, I like it. I'll hire you.
Do you want to dial 1-800 or do you want to dial my cell?
Yeah, or do you want to dial 858
Mm-hmm.
or 1-800?
I'm going to use that.
That's how he gets a good one.
It is a good one. All right, what profession would you not like to do?
Oh, man. I couldn't do what my wife does. She's in the operating room. She's an operating room nurse.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot blood, any of that stuff. I'm horrible. So no, I would
So
not
you chose
like to.
football?
I would not. Yeah. It's a little. Even when guys were getting hurt, I didn't want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be like, "Oh, look at that!" They'd be rewinding it on the film session. I'd be like, "Oh, no, I don't want to see that." A little wheezy.
Well, a lot of respect for her.
Yeah.
I
Oh
wouldn't
man,
want that
they're the
either.
best.
Where is your favorite spot in San Diego?
Bay Park. Now I'm biased. I live there, but I love Bay Park. Yeah.
Number 10. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh man. All I'd want to hear him to say, I'd know everything was good if he just said, as I'm coming up, and he just goes, "You," because that's what I do all the time. I'm always like, "You." So if I heard a big "you," I'd know, man, we're good.
I don't know if I can do it, but this interview, you.
Way to go.
I appreciate it, man, very
That's
much.
cool, man. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Beau Trickey.
Cheers.
Working on the plot and the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking one shot for the kill. The breeze cut, freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares of all big sky high.